Hey guys, how's it going? MasterBucks here. Welcome to another video of me discussing the possibility of Champions League rights coming to FIFA 19 in the near future. Of course, I posted a reaction video when I first heard the news. Obviously very excited. I wanted to get something out there because I'm sure there was definitely a lot of excitement on social media. It was everywhere. People that I didn't even follow were just retweeting the post that I put out about that screenshot like crazy. It was insane. There was so much hype around it at the time. And I just wanted to get a video out there saying, holy shit guys, how awesome is this? But it has been a little while now since that announcement was made of Konami losing the rights to UEFA and the Champions League at the end of the season. And obviously everyone expecting it to go to EA. And since then, I've come up with a list of things that I would really like to see EA Sports do with the Champions League rights if they get them. I should also mention as well that a few of these, if not the majority of them, actually aren't career mode based or related at all. So if that's sort of what you're in for, or that's what you're watching for, then just bear with me because I will be talking about it eventually. But I think there's so much that EA Sports could do really that I didn't even consider the first couple of hours after hearing the news, but figured out a little later. One of those being, and the first thing that I think EA could really do well with the Champions League is of course about the journey. Alex Hunter, do you remember him? He seems to be at the forefront and at the center of every new FIFA title now for the last year or two. As soon as it comes out, everyone is rushing to play through the journey, and of course, once we complete it all, it's pretty much done and dusted and we wait for the next installment, which I'm sure EA Sports are going to hit us with again. In FIFA 19, if the Champions League rights do end up going over to EA Sports and they are able to use the Champions League, then surely they've got to make that a focal point of the journey. We know that Alex Hunter was able to go to a big club where you could take your pick between clubs like Bayern, Real Madrid and PSG and all these massive clubs, you know, teams that are seriously expected to be competing and winning potentially Champions Leagues. I should also mention as well that in FIFA 17, the first year that the journey was actually implemented into the game, they also picked up the rights to the FA Cup, so they had the full graphics packages and all of that. And as a result of that, they made the FA Cup, especially toward the end of the first season of the journey, a real focal point, so that way they could show off having these new graphics packages and all that. So obviously I would really expect the Champions League to be featuring quite a fair bit, to be quite a focal point in the journey if it's so annoying how I have to say the word if. Let's just assume for the rest of the video that all of us who have connected the dots and all that, we all just assume that we're right, okay? We all assume that it is going to go to EA Sports, the Champions League rights in FIFA 19. I'm just going under the assumption now at this point. No more ifs, no more buts. It's happening just for the remainder of this video. The second thing that I'm thinking of, and something I didn't even consider until like several days after I found out the news, is again, not career mode related, but it's more eSports related. EA Sports obviously just had their second FUT Champions Cup, their event in spring that was held in Manchester. Congratulations MS Dasari, repping for the rest of the world. I appreciate that. I'm really hoping that this is turned into a FIFA celebration as well. But obviously eSports, the whole eSport movement, we know how big it is becoming and how massive it's surely going to end up in the next couple of years. It seems to be quite a focal point of EA, and it seems to be something that they're really investing in. Now, we are seeing football leagues from all over the world, whether it be in Europe, in the Americas, or even in right here Australia. I should know because I'm part of it. Leagues, actual football leagues, established football leagues picking up and creating their own esport equivalents. Over in Europe, you've got France and the Netherlands that have had an established esport FIFA league for a while now. Recently, the La Liga have actually picked up and they're going to do their own esport league. Over in America, the EMLS Cup, I'm sure you guys have heard a little bit about that. And even here in Australia, again, I should know because I'm part of this, I host and commentate the E-League here in Australia. I am dead set confident that we are surely going to see, let's just make it specifically about Europe here, considering we're talking about UEFA and the Champions League, but we are surely going to see an esport equivalent to nearly every single football league that's across Europe. We've already got a FIFA league set up in France for Ligue 1. We've already got one set up in the Eredivisie. We're about to have one in La Liga, and it's surely only a matter of time before the Bundesliga sets one up, surely with the amount of amazing German players they seem to have. And when the Premier League does it, it's all going to go gangbusters. Basically, what I'm trying to get at here is that we are probably in the near future going to have a competitive FIFA esport version of the Champions League. The biggest and best clubs will be represented by some of the best FIFA esport players in the world, signed up by actual clubs to go out there and compete and to represent for that club. Let's say, for example, Manchester City. They've got a pretty good player called Dito, so he's signed up. He is their official eSport player. And then let's say PSG. They've got a bloke called PSG Dax who made a pretty good run in the last Foot Champions Cup as well. There are so many clubs going out and getting the best FIFA eSport players, signing them up and getting them to represent their clubs at these tournaments. So who's to say that there won't be a Champions League version of FIFA eSports? I feel like it's almost a guarantee. It's a certainty with how massive it seems to be continuing to grow. And if UEFA have, of course, given the rights to EA Sports, and that seems to be the direction they're heading down, then I think it's even more of a possibility. But the third thing I'd like them to do, and again, I'll probably just touch on this really quickly, but it's Ultimate Team related, of course. We know that they release Man of the Match cards depending on how Champions League goes and European football goes. And I think it'd be cool to get a little bit more, Champions League specific content in Ultimate Team. I've seen some really cool graphics floating around of Champions League and Europa League specific Man of the Match cards that could get released, and I'd love to see stuff like that in Ultimate Team. That'd be really sick. Now, finally, moving on from all of that, we're going to talk about career mode finally. I know that's what the majority of you are probably wanting me to talk about, specifically with these Champions League rights, but we're finally getting to it. Of course, it goes without saying, I want to see the graphics in there. I want to see the team lineup graphics as well. I want that Champions League anthem, that theme, to be blasting every single time I walk out the tunnel. I really want it going. I would also love career mode to go a little heavier on the cutscenes, stuff that maybe you don't get bombarded with it, but it's all optional things to view if you want to enhance your experience. Kind of a little bit like with transfers this year. You can go into a cutscene and you can negotiate with the players, especially with contracts, but you don't exactly have to. You can delegate to an assistant manager and just get it done that way without having to see a cutscene. And you also don't have to go into the team news, international news and all that to see those extra little cutscenes that they show you to sort of enhance the experience a little bit. You don't have to go in and see who's won player of the month, who's won the team, or who's won player of the year or manager of the year and stuff like that. It's all optional. I would like for them to go in and do a little bit more with that with Champions League, and specifically when it comes to a group draw. They could probably also do that with the FA Cup, but specifically talking about Champions League, I would love to be able to opt in to watch a cutscene or to watch the Champions League group draw happen live, or round of 16 draw, quarterfinals, semi-finals, whatever. I'd also love, and this is just a little tiny thing that I thought up, but you know how they always seem to have like a legend of the game, like a former retired player, like they've had who this season, I think Francesco Totti was one player, for example, that was doing the group draw. I'd love for there to be like a legendary player coming out and doing it as well. Maybe, for example, say a Thierry Henry, or I'm trying to think, who are some of the FIFA icons? I don't know, like a Mark Overmars, a Michael Owen, someone like that. I don't know, but that would also be another sick thing, just to see the actual whole Champions League group draw get done in front of you as a cutscene. Other small things as well, like press conferences. It's pretty easy to forget that you can actually have or take press conferences in the game. You get that little 2 or 3 day window before a match to do press conferences. Who the hell does though? Not me. It's just no point really. I don't know if there is any point in doing it. It doesn't change anything, but I'd still love to jump in and maybe do a cutscene here or there if that is a possibility as well. And the final thing, of course, just broadly speaking, this isn't just about the Champions League. This is about getting the UEFA rights as a whole, so the rights to pretty much all of their competitions, and that includes Europa League. So I'd love to see the graphics packages for the Europa League as well. Not only that, but the UEFA Super Cup. So maybe you could try to get that a little bit more involved as well. And the two other competitions that I haven't really been talking about, or that I haven't seen spoken of too much, is actually the Euros. So you could really go in big for that and maybe make that as part of career mode, maybe another incentive to want to sign up and do international management, because again, not really much to do except for just the World Cup in my personal opinion. And then there's also the UEFA Youth League. I've seen a lot of people say that they want under 23s, under 18s and stuff like that put into career mode, which I honestly know that it would be a tough thing for EA to do, to have to go out and try to get the list of all under 18, under 23 players on literally every single club's roster. That would be tough. I can totally understand that. And it's also just another aspect for them to throw in that would probably be very time consuming. I can imagine. But if they do that, then you've got the UEFA Youth League as well. Another something to just use the UEFA license for. So that is the list of stuff that I've come up with for things that I'd really like to see EA Sports do with the UEFA license. Again, if they do get them, and our hopes and dreams are not crushed after they end up going to fucking Football Manager. We're still keeping our fingers crossed. No official announcement, and I don't think there will be an official announcement until EA Play. If we don't see anything from FIFA 19 at EA Play and nothing to indicate that the Champions League is in there, I will be very disappointed. I cannot lie. But that was just my little list of things that I've come up with over the last day or two after hearing the news of Konami losing their rights. But again, I'd love to hear once more what you would like to see happen with the UEFA rights if EA Sports were to get them. What do you think they could implement into the game if they were to pick them up? Till the next one, everybody, my name is the MasterBucks. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, have a good one. Bye-bye. I also want to quickly say congratulations Arsene Wenger on a brilliant career. We wish you the best of luck in retirement. And no, I'm definitely not putting this in here to get the video over 10 minutes. All right, sweet, cool. See you later.